Okay, let's just start with this. The human mind, it's fast. Like, shockingly fast.
We're talking faster than logic.
Faster than reason. You know, in a few seconds it took for these words to pop up on your screen. Your brain, it already made a judgment call about what you're watching right now. So let's get into it. We're going to break down the psychology of first impressions. Think about it. That powerful, almost invisible force that shapes how people see you, how they trust you, and what they remember about you. And it all happens in just a few seconds. First up, the mind decides fast. And here's the thing you've got to understand. These instant judgments, they aren't some kind of social quirk or a bad habit you need to break. Nope, they are a fundamental part of how our brains are literally wired to work. And this is probably the most crucial point of all. A first impression, it's not a choice. It's pure instinct. It's a survival mechanism that's been baked into our DNA for millennia, all designed to keep us safe by making these lightning-fast calls on anything or anyone new. So what's the brain asking? Well, at its most primal level, it's boiling everything down to a really simple binary question. Friend or threat? That's it. Safe or dangerous? Should I approach or should I get out of here? Before any kind of complex thought kicks in, this is the first filter everything has to pass through. Okay, so if our brains are making these super fast judgments, what information is it even using, right? It's definitely not scanning your resume or your life story. It's scanning for something much more subtle, the unspoken signals. See, the brain just zeroes in on 3 core signals, and it processes them pretty much all at once. We're talking about your appearance, your body language, and the actual sound of your voice. This is the raw, unfiltered data that makes up a first impression. But let's be super clear about appearance. This isn't about fashion or having expensive clothes or looking a certain way, not at all. It's about the signals you're sending with how you carry yourself. You know, do you look comfortable in your own skin? Is your presence intentional? That's what the brain is actually reading. And when it comes to trust, well, our brains have a very clear hierarchy. What is actually said, you know, the specific words you use, is way less important than how it's said. Your tone, your confidence, the energy you bring, that's the stuff that feels real and authentic to our instincts. We trust the emotional data way, way more than the logical data. All right, so up until now, we've mostly talked about the signals you send out, but that's really only half the story. The person on the other end, the one receiving those signals, they're looking at you through their own set of hidden filters, and those filters dramatically shape what they see. And honestly, this might be the single most important idea to really get your head around. The first impression someone forms of you, it's just as much about them as it is about you. Think about it. Their past experiences, their mood at that exact moment, their own fears and expectations, it all acts like a lens that colors how they perceive you. So how does this filtering actually work? Well, the brain loves shortcuts. First, it scans the signals you're putting out. Then, it almost instantly assigns you to a category it already understands, like leader, follower, threat, ally. And here's the kicker. Once you're in that box, the brain actively starts looking for evidence to prove it was right. And that's why first impressions can be so ridiculously hard to shake. Now, I know this might all sound a little deterministic, like we're doomed from the start, but it's really not like that. In fact, understanding this process is what gives us the power to influence it, because these impressions, they don't just stay in our heads, oh no, they actively go out and shape our reality. The thing to remember is that a first impression is never just a single one-off event. It actually kicks off this powerful psychological loop. It's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy that just gains more and more momentum over time. So here's how it starts. People start to treat you based on that first impression. So if they see you as capable, they're gonna act like it. They'll give you more responsibility, they'll listen more closely when you speak. And then the loop closes. Because over time, we all subtly start to adapt to how we're being treated. It's human nature. When people treat you like a leader, you start to act more like one, right? You step up. And just like that, the initial impression starts creating its own evidence in the real world. So the big question is, what can you do if you make a bad first impression? Our first instinct is always to try and explain or defend ourselves, right? But remember, these judgments are emotional, they're not logical. So arguing with an impression, it almost never works. The only thing that can reliably rewrite that initial story in someone's brain is consistency. You have to repeatedly, authentically, and over a long period of time show them behavior that proves that first impression wrong.
And let's be really clear about something. The point of all this isn't to learn how to manipulate people. Not at all. The real goal here is just awareness. It's about understanding the psychology so you can be more intentional about the signals you're sending out. You know, how you walk into a room, the kind of energy you project, and the way you actually connect with people. Because ultimately, it all boils down to this one powerful truth. People won't remember every single word you say. They just won't. What they will remember is how you made them feel. The logic, the details, that all fades. But the emotional imprint from that first encounter, that sticks. That feeling, that's the true legacy of a first impression. So that leaves us with one final, kind of empowering question to think about. Every single time you meet someone new, a story is being written in just a matter of seconds. The only question left is, are you going to be the intentional author of that story, or are you just going to let it be written for you?